2 seconds. Everyone, Dave Putz here from JKP Holdings. Alongside me, Mr. Nathan Turner.
Hello there.
Live from a different location. I love it.
I'm in St. Pete. Look at this. Sunny skies, palm trees, all that good stuff.
At DME right now, I'm sure you've said hello to Mr. Nathan. Unfortunately, I was unable to make it. We're making arrangements. We'll be speaking actually on stage, possibly in Vegas this year. So it'll be fun.
Awesome.
How has DME been? What's the atmosphere like?
It is so nice to be all together again and just being able to just get together and chat. And oh man, that's invaluable. And just that time to just do the face-to-face and connecting with friends and then meeting a lot of new people. Anybody from sellers to people that are brand new, just looking for advice, which is fine too. But it's great just to get together and just chat and have that face-to-face. It's nice.
Yeah. Are you able to, when you're networking with these people, what is the energy like? What are the people asking about? What are they talking about? What's the talk right now that's on around the atmosphere right now?
A lot of people are wondering kind of where we're going, and that's, what's going to happen with the market. And I mean, we've been talking about that for a year on this show.
Yeah.
With every guest that we've had. And so that's still a big topic of conversation.
Sure.
And, everybody's got their opinion, but one of the most interesting comments, I was chatting with Franco yesterday, and he's an attorney and covers several states in the Midwest. And he was saying that starting January, they were swamped, absolutely swamped. They had to hire on 4 new employees just to keep up with the sudden deluge of foreclosure starts. So, I asked him, are bankruptcies ticking up? And he said, well, not yet, but I expect they will in about 3 or 4 months, because it just takes that long, as it goes through the process, and then bankruptcies start creeping up as well. And so if, in his opinion, he, where he's figuring fall, summer, we're going to see a bunch more delinquencies. So we'll see what happens.
I was just talking to someone today. We did a consulting session with someone, and they were asking questions about pricing and modeling. And I found a lot of people are struggling with, 2 big things, right? Calculating returns, which we should be doing a video about that sooner or later, is, how do you calculate your returns? We did it with Joe and everything else, but they're still bidding based on UPB, and that number changes. And the other side of it is valuation of properties, right? It is so hard because values are going up dramatically quickly across the country. And knowing where things are going to be is extremely difficult. But the flip side is, if you have a property that is going up, and I'm segueing here, right? Where condition of property means everything to you as an investor. Yeah. If it's in good condition, you can assume the fact that as long as the market doesn't crash, that property is going to continue to go up in value. The question is condition.
Right. So
when we were BPOs, what do we see?
We see the front of the house, maybe the side, maybe. How many times have you had a roof issue or something that happened in the backyard?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Pool issue, roof issue, anything, right? And we've talked to people who, get these evaluations done, and the roof is this percentage, that percentage. It's like, how do you know, right?
Right.
But it, not only is the note the valuable part, the asset is the second most valuable part of the whole deal. And getting Google images like we do, satellite images, is unknown. We can't see everything. We can't detail. And I think I've talked to other people who are buying these people to go out and look at a property inspection. They don't know what they do. They don't know what their valuation is. And a lot of times, I don't want another report.
Yeah. And it's very subjective. Somebody will, and I get this all the time, a realtor will go look at a house that I've taken back, and they say, oh, it's in really rough shape. And I just go, because rough shape is incredibly subjective. What does rough shape mean? And does that mean torn carpet, or does that mean it's down to the studs? So that's very different things. And I need to know objectively, if I can look at it, then I can make the decision what's rough and what's not, and what kind of damage there might be in, or it's not a big deal.
So what we've done in the past is kind of shot in the dark on condition of houses. Most of them you can't get inside of them, and you can't tell roof conditions. And what we've learned over years is that your roof is probably your number one factor on house condition.
Yeah.
If that roof has problems, that house has problems.
Yeah.
And
we're not just talking about, right. We're not just talking about worn shingles. We're talking about
yeah,
holes in the ceiling.
Yeah.
And that can destroy a house.
Yeah. And we've been through it. I've had legal claims, insurance claims. It's just a nightmare. Yeah. So a while back, I ran into this great person who was really helpful with things. And then she introduced me to her husband, Bobby. Bobby was a guy that blew the top off the doors of his knowledge and experience, but also his personality. So when Bobby started explaining some of the stuff, I was amazed at some of the stuff I didn't realize, I didn't know, or didn't realize was a problem, right? So when talking to Bobby, I think it was the amazingness of not only I was learning what I didn't realize, but understanding his knowledge, his experience, and why what he's bringing to market is needed in an amazing way. So, Bobby, welcome to our Friday live. Riding solo right now, I know, but Bobby, can you share a little bit about your background? How did you get into this space? What's your knowledge, and what's this product ultimately solving?
Sure. Hey, thank you so much for having me, David and Nathan. And you really set that softball up nicely for me. It was a really good intro. I'm like, yes, that's perfect. Great sales pitch for me. So I am prior military. I'm prior Air Force, did 13 years total service. And in 2009, I got my pilot's license, and I found out you could get paid to fly, essentially, to own an aerial photography company. So I did that for 3 years until 2012 or so, actively from an aircraft. And that's when drones were like right on the horizon. And I'm sitting here looking at, like, at the time, investing another $50,000, $60,000 into buying an airplane and doubling down, or, what's going to happen when drones come in a year from then and put us out of business. Right. So obsolescence hurts. I ended up leaving that job. I still did it part-time, and then started using drones for it. But I got into flying drones in Afghanistan for a couple of years to get into the unmanned industry. Did that for a couple of years in Afghanistan, came back and worked as a satellite intel analyst for the biggest commercial satellite company, was Digital Globe at the time, where I used satellite and had access to commercial satellites. It was awesome. By the way, you guys might see a lot of this imagery in Ukraine right now coming out. It's like commercial intelligence products, if you will, but super cool, right? What I learned in that industry, though, from dealing in that job specifically with customers, the commercial customers that were coming in, they wanted to put eyes on locations and properties in real time that satellites going to get to. And a lot of people didn't realize at the time that, like, satellites don't have an immediate recollect time every day. Like, they're not collecting tomorrow and the next day. And the stuff that you're seeing online on Google Maps and Google Earth could be months, years old.
Wow.
So one of the things that I was like, was, even as an analyst, if I'm doing an open source report or whatever, I was like, I need something that's more real time than my own satellites that I have access to as that analyst. And wouldn't it be cool if we could get those people that have drones in the US to go take pictures for us? And this was back in 2015. So that kind of started the whole where I was going, right? The short of that is I pitched it to Digital Globe, to start a drone network. And they were like, hey, we're a satellite company. So it was a great idea. There was a very few competitors in the space at the time. And I dropped out of grad school and I quit the company and I started PayPixel effectively. That's my background.
Very cool. So I know, like, even when I'm looking at a Google Earth satellite view, sometimes I can see the house itself. Sometimes I can see parts of the roof, if I can see through trees or not. And sometimes I can see parts of the backyard or not. And again, just depending on tree cover, or maybe it's an older picture, so it's very pixely and it's hard to get very detailed information on what I'm looking at. So you're talking about taking a drone and flying over houses and being able to take much better quality imagery.
Yes. Yeah, that was the core idea, is you getting a camera essentially in that spot in near real time that you can get angles below tree lines, from different angles than just miles above overhead, maybe 1 or 2 degrees off of that house. Right now, you're able to take a drone and get exactly where you need to. So the premise of the company PayPixel, what did I end up making out of it? It's a marketplace that allows anybody to easily find pilots across the country, order and pay for images, videos, and 3D models on demand. That's what we're building right now. We launched our beta last month, and essentially right now we're building the software, the core component of that marketplace that allows pilots to upload their images, 3D models, videos, and share those with their customers in a map, essentially.
Wow.
So you can consider us like the interface would look like Zillow meets Dropbox meets PayPal, right? And it's a way for pilots to basically stage all of their imagery projects over time, recall them on a map, pull them up, share projects out. It's like a Dropbox with a map component to it. Now, the reason I wanted to open this up to everyone, so there's something else too, is there's marketplaces out there that currently exist, right, that we're competing with. And the major difference between us and them is there are drone service providers out there where you can go sign a drone service provider agreement with these people or the companies, and you can ask for imagery in certain areas. It's difficult to get. Their marketplace isn't perfect. It takes days sometimes to get a return on your imagery, and you're dealing with that singular company. That kind of closes off the concept of a marketplace. So we wanted to create a true democratized marketplace, very much like Zillow, where you can just go to the map. You don't even need to sign in. You can put a request in. You can see the pilots there. You can go directly with them, and you can get a quick turnaround. And the goal is to get that imagery fast, store it on your dashboard forever. You can share, you can collaborate with it. You can download the imagery, send it to a partner, and they can see in real time what's going on with that property.
So that's amazing. And you're kind of helping out two different parties here, right? You're helping out the real estate investor, and you're helping that drone person who enjoys this hobby of flying and make it a business for them as well. Not only, or if they already have existing business, to expand on that business, right? Marco added that he actually the drone pilot with part 107, I guess, licensed part 107, so and you're doing both parts of it. And I'm sure he would love to be able to use his drone for other than personal use, other things, right? So when you look at these images that you've seen, what are some of the stuff you've noticed about houses, in the real estate world? What are some of the things you've seen going, holy goodness, that we probably are not seeing through Google Images or any other company? What are you seeing with the property, backyard, roof of the house? What kind of stuff are you seeing?
So for us, what we're noticing is, when you have 3-centimeter resolution, you can see the individual tiles, you can see the condition of the roof, you can see if a fence is torn down in the backyard or the paint is real bad, even on the sides of the house. As this drone orbits around the property, you're able to look at an oblique angle of all different angles of the roof. So if a roof's, you got different grades of the roof, you're able to see on one side of that grade and go around. You can see where there's potential leaks, discoloration, damaged tiles. We have terracotta roofs here in Florida. The Spanish roofs are common. And any visible damage around that roof is a lot more noticeable than you'll see in the 30 centimeters satellite imagery resolution that you get from Google Earth, or Bing Maps. So we're looking at 10 times the resolution of that commercial product that's out there with a current look as it is today, and not like months or years ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's mind blowing. That's really cool.
It's amazing. We look at images all the time, and we use those images as fact, as property conditions. And I'll bounce between Google Maps and Bing Maps just to get the most newest map. But when you get these images, and how soon, if I make an order today, how soon that typically come in for me as a consumer and be able to see the images?
Sure. So, to keep in mind, we're early on and we're in the beta right now, but the way that we built the marketplace differently from other people is it's enticing to the drone pilots that are out there. The offer to them. So to answer your question quickly, our goal is to get within 24 hours. You know, there's obvious weather conditions that may delay that. It might be raining. There may be a hurricane. You're not getting a quick turnaround there, right? So there's a sense of, you know, you got to be realistic about the turnaround. But as far as getting the density of pilots in the network to make a quick turnaround, that's where we had to look at our business model and analyze, like, okay, what's the best business model that's going to get us more pilots on the network quickly? That's also going to give them a little bit more demand so they can put more money in their account each month. And the major difference that we're doing there to enable that is we're almost removing ourselves almost completely as the intermediary between the two. Our product isn't the drone pilot's imagery, if that makes sense. So when you order through PayPixel, it's not going to be, we're not controlling that product. What we're doing is we're building the software to remove the friction in the process of finding people, if that makes sense. And the pilot gets to take away the majority of the payment, the order cost, right? We take a small transaction fee and they can continue to grow business with you. So if you have other houses in that area, you can go back and store them as a favorite pilot. They can continue to fly again.
Wow.
So it's good to just mention the business model itself of the marketplace, right? You said it yourself, like you're dealing with problems on two sides. So for you guys, you want the ability to see quickly. I've dealt with investors who said that they had Uber Eats go to a location, take pictures, and then keep the pizza that they ordered. They text back and forth to the driver, say, hey, thanks for the photos. And that was it. And that was a really cheap way for them to get imagery. But that shows the pain. Like, it's difficult to get that. So if I ask people today, like, where would you go find imagery? Where would you go to have somebody take photos for you for a property? And they go, oh, I don't know, Facebook, maybe word of mouth. I don't know. So the first thing is Facebook. And it's a place that's not really built for what this is. The other side of that is the pilots, and who are mostly photographers as well, which means if we have somebody go to a house for you to take drone imagery, they can easily use a camera to get on the ground imagery as well. So if they have access, where they have access in the public viewing, they can take the picture of the side of the house, the front of the house. So it can go, you know, not just aerial, but on the ground, and in some cases, even interior, if that's accessible to the people legally, right? So that's where we're at. The problems that they have, though, is important to note. These guys there's 250,000 pilots across the US, and the average pilot makes $12,000 a year. So it's a gig work for most pilots out there. It's a side job. We want to increase that market by increasing the demand, have more people come in and buy imagery, to make 1 million pilots making $30,000 a year. You know, that boosts the industry 10 times just by making the software that allows that transaction to occur naturally, right? And that's what we're trying to do for them as well.
I'm presuming you can also do commercial work too, right? You can check out any kind of property, anything you need from a point of view. And from the customer point of view, can we direct what we're looking for? Hey, we want this or we want that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're doing is we're incorporating APIs, and we're using a web order form where the customer will be able to use our standard web order form and also go into the description, put some more information in there to really tailor it. And when the app is at full maturity, you'll just be able to go direct with the pilot that you choose, and you can DM them directly in the chat. So there's a log of what's going on. There's the web order form, everything is there, and it's bound to the order. So when you get your order rather, it's on your dashboard. All the communication has been there, and it just makes things easy. It puts it right there. And then when the project is done, a year later, you can go back to your dashboard and see all of the products, so all of the orders that you've ever had, like Zillow on a map. You can click on one, see the output. Again, still download and share the imagery later on down the road if you need to. So commercially, it's a significant boost to insurance and prop tech, where you have companies that can order through automation with the API. They can take a standard order form and say, okay, for every property that we have to come in now, distribute an order here on the API. So, and the pilots will receive it just as if they're talking to a person, be able to fulfill those orders, and the orders are filled through automation via the API. So yes, that's the direction that we're going.
Oh, that's cool. So are there any privacy concerns with a drone flying around a person's house? How does that address?
Absolutely. That's a good question. And this is something that is because the industry is early. This is where public opinion meets the lack of education meets ad hoc legislation. And this is a common push. So I think it was 2011, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was 2011, 2007 or 2011. Google Street View came under fire. Google went to a class action lawsuit, and the judge ruled in favor of Google. And it was basically the expectation of privacy was pulled into effect. And the judge basically deemed if you're taking imagery from a public area, it's not an invasion of privacy. If you are trying to defeat somebody's personal fence, or you're on their private property taking imagery, that's another problem. So, but this Google car going down the road in the public domain was deemed, by all intents and purposes, safe. It was not something that you could say was an invasion of privacy. So there's a push right now. Some states are different. They don't agree necessarily with other states. There are regions and states that don't agree. What is considered an invasion of privacy from the air? We've got to keep in mind that this is a new technology. People freak out. We've had satellites for years be able to look down in your backyard. Not only that, but we've had airplanes flying over and creating 10-centimeter resolution imagery, and you can see people in the backyard with that imagery. And they've been flying every month. They'll fly over your house, and people don't even realize it. It's not until you get a drone that you can hear and you can see that people start getting concerned with the technology that's been around for forever, right? And so that's the issue. And now the public awareness is there. There's a stigma that we got to work through. So in the industry, we're still in the education phase of saying, look, we're not trying to look at you in the backyard tanning. We're trying to get access to this roof. So we have to be smart about it as well. And this is a give and take situation. People that are using drones to inspect properties also need to know some of the limitations that are there as well. And it's important to say, like, say if you have a tenant in the home and you're trying to do due diligence on a property that they might not even be aware of, that's up in the air, right? You don't necessarily want to alert that tenant that you're inspecting their property. You don't want, 3 people a day going on the door asking to be let into the house to take pictures.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of be discreet, right? And you want to be discreet within the bounds of the law. So you don't necessarily want to put a drone 3 feet over the roof, scanning the roof and looking at every single tile. That doesn't make sense. But what does make sense is if you put it in the public domain, you put it 50 to 100 feet above the roof, you still get amazing imagery. You can circulate the roof, and then you can take off and go. That's a better situation and solution. You still get amazing accuracy in your images, and you're still able to tell a lot of the story. We also have to educate pilots on that as well, because there's a lot of pilots out there that don't understand. They still feel like they need to go knock on the door for every one of these houses and let them know that they're there. And that's not the case either. They can do standoff inspections. So we're in an education phase. We have to educate what the limitations are to the customer, and we have to educate what's legal and what is acceptable in our pilot community as well. So nothing like an uphill struggle, but it's important. This is how we progress.
It's key.
Right?
Yeah, you have a picture of a kid on there. You can get legally in trouble for having an image of a kid without permission, right? If those kind of things are crazy. I've also seen, and Cindy asked a good question. We'll get to in 1 second, Cindy. That when you look at Google Maps, a lot of times license plates are, grayed out, or a whole house can be completely blurred. Is that going to be turned into this, where if the house is on that do not show list, you guys will be flagging that as well?
Yeah, this is something that we want to put in there too. Privacy, it plays right into the public stigma. We want to reduce that stigma. Yeah. So we understand. I respect people's privacy all day long. I'm also a proponent of the Fourth Amendment, right? And we want to make sure that people are using our platform legally, ethically. So yeah, of course, give them the opportunity. If they don't want to be there, then we remove that house from our map, if you will. And any future orders that conflict with that area, we'll flag it and we'll say this is unable to collect there. As far as facial recognition, license plates, and PII, the private information that you can, detect in imagery. Fortunately, there's algorithms that can remove those automatically. Yep. Thank you, Facebook, for making that open source. But yeah, we can easily go and blur those out post-processing.
Cool. So Cindy Coleman asked, are we limited to United States on this? I'm presuming in the beginning it is, but you want to go farther than that. Would that be correct?
Absolutely, we do. This is a fun time to talk about it. How we plan on using crypto. Right now, we're using Stripe as an interface, and Stripe has all these different countries. So as we continue to grow and we add on support, like the next thing is we're going to do Canada, South America, we'll be looking at that as well. So we plan on expanding, but we have to test here in the US first. We want global domination. That's why we started the company. In order to do that, crypto is an avenue that we're looking at that pilots and people can optionally pay in crypto for their orders. And that means that I can pay a pilot in another country that Stripe doesn't necessarily support, where they can get that crypto payment, they can take it out, and they can, that's how they can gain wealth from fulfilling that order. So that's on the burner as well.
That's so cool.
So coming up to Canada, Aaron and I already discussed it. You guys are coming at Christmas time. We're going to go to the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto. So we're all set.
I did. Thank you. I didn't know that. And most people probably don't know that, Aaron, you said Aaron Quinn is my wife. We're big hockey fans. I'm a huge fan of Canada. I've never been able to make it. And I just told you that the other day when I saw you, Nathan, in person.
Yeah.
But so thank you for talking my wife into.
It's all planned. It's all planned.
We actually have you. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, and then we can start your Canadian expansion project at that time.
We already have users in Canada, and that's the thing is they're helping us test, and they're reporting issues and bugs, which we need right now. We have, again, we launched last month, and we have just over 350 users right now helping us out.
Great.
We have about 14, maybe 15,000 images uploaded already. So yeah, it's going pretty quick. And the people in Canada are like, when can we start fulfilling orders? When can we use this to deliver our existing files to our existing customers? And we just have to get that Stripe integration there. So we're looking at like maybe a month for Canada to come online.
So let's go a little different direction here, right? We have a bunch of people listening to this who are investors and business owners. Next Christmas, I want to ask my wife for a drone. How easy, or is it not so easy, to literally plug and play this possibility for people who may be a little handy with the stuff to move right in? Or is there a skill set that needs to be had?
Not so. Two parts of that question. Not everybody has the ability to fly a drone. Not everybody has the ability or the eye to get imagery. And that's why it's important to create a marketplace of people who have that skill that can do that for you, right? And it's true. Like, you're not going to go put a great marketing video together, a FPV, where you're flying through the property, you're inside of the house, like a professional on day one. And some people will never get to that point. On the flip side of that, it's never been easier to operate a drone. The GPS, the autopilot systems are so advanced right now. You let go of the controls, it holds it in place with precision, and you can fly very smoothly, better than you've ever been able to before. So it takes less skill than ever to do just that. So that's kind of a two-sided way to answer your question. I would say go get it, play around with it, see how difficult it is. You might love it. And then when you're ready to start sharing your imagery for free, download PayPixel. And when you share that project out, you can share it on a map. You can share it just for fun with people on your social media page and say, hey, look at these pictures from our vacation. And the cool part is all of those pictures are mapped, and you can see on a map where they were taken. And that's just a completely different way to share the imagery.
That's amazing.
Outside of the inspections, outside of the marketplace, and use it on your own to share. So
what limitations do you have right now besides expansion? From my experience, the limitation is really technology and just making sure everything works, right? What other limitations do you have right now from a user point of view that we can't do yet?
The biggest number one problem is regulatory. And it's true. This is why we have the model where you go direct with the drone pilot, rather than us taking your order and distributing that as an order to the pilot. We can't do that because of all the ad hoc regulation that's out there. So regulatory restrictions are the number one thing. Some towns and some areas don't allow drone pilots to take off in that area yet and fly overhead. So it's not everywhere is friendly in the US. We are moving where states are putting in regulations that or legislation that nobody below the state can make a more restrictive law than the state itself, which is super helpful for us. I think Minnesota is one of the states right now that just enacted that. So not one city in Minnesota is going to make a more restrictive thing. And you're removing that ad hoc regulatory map, right?
Yep.
That's the number one problem that we face, but that's quickly going away. The public stigma is laying to rest. I mean, it's been 2013 is when drones came out. So 9 years now that this technology has been around. Give it a few more, that stigma is going to die down a little bit more. It'll be easy to get the imagery that you need where you need it. And fortunately, we'll be in the position to help you out.
That's awesome.
Excellent.
Cindy asks how we can sign up for your service. As a user, I'm presuming, Cindy, I'm presuming you're not flying them. If you are, awesome. But those people who are looking to start using your service tomorrow to look at properties.
So yeah, we don't have the marketplace set up just yet. However, you can still register. It's going to look a little weird because we're going to talk to you like you're a pilot today, although we have that list growing. So everybody on the list, and when you register, you're going to determine whether you're a pilot or a client. And so if you say you're a client, we'll have all of those people in our database. As this progresses over the next month to 45 days and the marketplace opens up, you'll get an email and, hey, PayPixel's ready to go. And when you log back in, it's going to look a lot more like Zillow than the website does today. But if you want to register, you want to get more information, we would love to have you come in and check it out. It's paypixel.io. That's PAYPIXL.io. And we'll be looking forward to having you on.
Yeah,
Super cool.
I think it's be completely changed a lot of the market. Right now, it's a simple picture of a property from the outside, proving the location, and they have to take a picture of the property address, right? And it's so antiquated. Where this is using real technology that's out there available for everyone to not be guessing and taking street signs and really getting evaluation. So I'm looking forward to it. Look forward to playing with it, looking at stuff, and really using it for everything else. And this is not just a note thing. This is a real estate thing. And this is even bigger than that. This is just everything, right? So
yeah,
cool. Well,
do you know what
Bobby,
you're charging for the reports yet?
Yeah. Do you know what your cost would be?
So right now to capture a basic imagery of a property, the national average is about $110 to $120 for that. You got to think the pilot's going to go out, fly the drone, get the imagery, come back, upload it. So 100, 110, 120 is a national average. That can go up or down 30%. On average across the rest of the country. If you're wanting video, if it's unedited video and they're just like taking video of the property around, you might add another $20 to $50. If it's edited video, that could go hundreds of dollars more. And then that edited video. So marketing people are going to be using the platform as well to find skilled pilots to do like complete editing. And those could be anywhere from $500 up to $15,000, right? But for this sake, you're looking between the $100 and $150 range for a photo and video.
Which is not a whole lot more than a regular BPO. So that's well worth it. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah,
very cool.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm when we talked last year about this idea, this is something I was like, this is amazing. But we both knew when I talked to you that this is gonna be a long process. And it sounds like you're at the tail end, which is awesome to hear. So it's great to hear that you're finally getting there.
Well, Dave, the same for you, because I've seen you build your own product, and and I know times you've reached out and asked for resources that I was struggling to get myself. So congratulations to you for getting your product out, and I would love to see your product grow as well.
Yeah, awesome. We'll probably connect. They definitely have some symmetries that we can definitely connect with. So, absolutely. Hey guys, I encourage you guys check out PayPixel online, Facebook group, YouTube, all the good stuff where you can go to. This will be recorded onto YouTube for our channel, and make sure you take a look at stuff. If you're going to be going to IMN and you're not a DME, Nathan will be there, so definitely say hello and wave. Yeah. Shake hands with them, introduce yourself. So, well, Bobby, I hope you enjoy the rest of the afternoon. I know you're flying solo with the wife at the conference, so I hope things go well for you. Hopefully the kids don't drive you crazy. So, everyone,
super dad.
Definitely take a look at everything, guys. Enjoy his website, and have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy.
Thanks so much, Bobby. You bet.